I am very excited to dig into this material because, we are moving far beyond the standard grammar rules today.
We really are. We have a highly practical mission. We are looking at an issue that, well, almost anyone learning a second language faces on a daily basis.
Right, the daily survival aspect.
Exactly. We're going to uncover the ultimate cheat code for surviving your daily life in English without freezing up.
It is such a crucial topic. Our focus is strictly on the psychology of communication, real-world survival, basically.
Yeah, to set the stage for you, the listener, I want to paint a picture from the research that is just, it is universally relatable.
We all know the feeling.
Oh, absolutely. So imagine this scenario. You are at work. It is early in the morning. You are just holding your coffee, trying to get settled at your desk.
Still waking up.
Right. And suddenly, your boss walks by. They do not stop walking, but they fire off a rapid-fire request over their shoulder. Yeah. They say something like, "Can you finish this today and send it to the client?" But they're walking fast, talking fast, and the background noise of the office is loud.
You probably only process about, 60% of what they just said?
Exactly, 60%. So what do? If you are like most people, you smile, you nod your head, and you go completely, absolutely silent.
The classic smile and nod.
Yes. And in your head, you are secretly wishing they were speaking your native language.
That smile and nod is the universal survival reflex, but the diagnosis from the cognitive science material we reviewed is absolutely fascinating.
It really changes how you look at the problem.
It does. When you freeze in that moment, the problem is not actually your brain's capacity to understand English.
Right. It is not a lack of knowledge.
Exactly. It is certainly not your level of comprehension. If you are listening to this discussion right now, your English level is high. You actually understand far more vocabulary than you think you do.
So why do we freeze?
The real issue is that you do not have ready phrases loaded up in your working memory for these high-pressure, fast-paced moments.
Wow, that feels like a massive distinction to make right away.
It changes the whole paradigm.
It does, because we are constantly blaming ourselves, thinking, I need to study more vocabulary or do more grammar exercises.
When really the knowledge is already in there.
Yes, it is the access to that knowledge that breaks down. So why does our brain suddenly lock us out of our own vocabulary?
It actually comes down to basic human biology. When a native speaker fires a rapid question at you unexpectedly, your brain occasionally misinterprets that sudden social pressure as a literal physical threat.
A physical threat, like a predator.
Exactly like a predator. In neuroscience, this is often related to an amygdala hijack. Your brain's alarm system sounds, blood actually rushes away from your prefrontal cortex.
Which is the logical language processing part of your brain.
Right. It moves away from there and toward your basic survival centers. You freeze because your brain activates a fight or flight response.
That explains so much. The English words are in the brain, but the door is locked because the brain thinks we're being chased by a bear rather than just being asked a question by a manager.
A very corporate bear, yes.
Oh. So, our mission today is to give you the keys to unlock that door. We are diving into English phrases to survive the day across work, home, shops, and more.
And we are going to equip you with 10 specific bullet phrases spread across these daily situations, plus a foolproof strategy to make these phrases entirely automatic.
So before we jump into the Workplace Survival Kit, if you find this kind of practical deep dive helpful, please make sure to follow the Smart English YouTube channel and leave us a comment.
We love hearing from you.
We really do. Okay, let us dive into the first environment, the Workplace Survival Kit. We just talked about the boss walking by, but the research paints another incredibly common scenario.
The hallway ambush?
Yes. Imagine it is lunchtime. You are walking to the kitchen, trying to decompress. A coworker stops you in the hallway with a quote-unquote quick question about a complex project report.
It is never a quick question.
Right. Never. And instead of easily handling it, your mind goes completely blank. So if my brain shuts down in that hallway ambush, what is the actual antidote?
The documentation suggests keeping 3 specific, highly efficient bullet phrases in your back pocket for the office.
Okay, what is the first one?
The first one is incredibly simple. Give me a second.
Give me a second.
Yes. You use this simply to buy cognitive time. The second is, can you repeat that, please? This is your tool for when you miss a crucial piece of information.
And the third?
The third phrase is, let me check and get back to you. That is your strategic retreat when you genuinely do not have the answer in that moment.
You know, I have to push back a little bit on that first one.
Oh, why is that?
Well, give me a second feels almost too basic. If I am in a professional corporate environment, shouldn't I be using more elevated business English? Something like, please allow me a moment to review my files.
That is exactly the trap that second language learners fall into.
Really, the trap of trying to sound too professional.
Yes. You feel the urgency to respond perfectly and elegantly, and that pressure causes your mental system to stall completely. These specific phrases are brilliant precisely because they are simple.
Oh, I see. They bypass the panic.
Exactly. They act as a cognitive pressure valve. They are short, they are exceptionally polite, and they instantly relieve the burden of having to construct a complex sentence on the spot.
So it is about prioritizing function over elegance.
Absolutely. Think about the dynamics of the third phrase. Let me get back to you. When someone asks you a complex question in the hallway, saying that phrase buys you the ultimate processing time.
And it sounds professional.
It does. It signals competence. You are demonstrating that you take the request seriously enough to verify the information while simultaneously getting you out of the hot seat.
It totally shifts the power dynamic of the conversation. You aren't standing there looking confused while they wait for an answer. You are taking control of the interaction.
Right.
You are essentially saying, I hear your request, but we are going to operate on my timeline for a moment.
And the phrase, can you repeat that please, operates on the same principle. Often, language learners feel deeply embarrassed to ask for repetition.
Oh, definitely. It feels like you are admitting failure.
They fear it makes them look less capable or less intelligent, but if you observe native speakers, they ask for repetition constantly.
Because the real world is messy.
Exactly. The hallway is noisy, people mumble, connections drop on video calls. Framing your request clearly and politely removes the awkwardness and ensures you actually understand the task.
That is such a great point about native speakers asking for repetition. We hold ourselves to an impossible standard of perfect hearing. So I want to do a quick check-in with you, the listener.
Think about your own day.
Yes, think about your own job right now. Picture your office, your daily video calls, the messages you get. Which of these three phrases, give me a second, can you repeat that please, or let me check and get back to you, do you desperately need to start using today? Just hold that phrase in your mind.
Visualizing the actual environment where you will use the phrase is a crucial step in making this actionable.
It really makes it tangible. Now, the workplace is exhausting, but eventually we get to go home. However, navigating a second language does not always stop at the front door.
No, it certainly does not.
We need to look at setting boundaries at home, which brings us to our second environment. The home is supposed to be a sanctuary, but maybe you live with roommates who speak English, or you have a bilingual family.
The psychological aspect of this is significant. Operating in a second language all day produces a very real physical sensation known as cognitive fatigue.
Cognitive fatigue, that sounds heavy.
It is real. Your brain is literally burning more glucose to decode and encode information constantly. It is an enormous caloric drain.
It's exactly like having too many tabs open on your computer browser.
That is a perfect way to describe it.
Right. By 5 o'clock in the evening, the battery is completely drained and the internal fan is just spinning loudly.
Highly accurate. By the time you get home, your mental resources are depleted. So if a roommate or a partner starts a complex conversation about household chores or plans for the weekend, you need a fast way to protect your remaining energy without seeming rude.
So what are the bullet phrases for the home?
The recommended phrases are, I need a break, and can you help me with this?
I can see how those would be lifesavers. You shouldn't have to construct a grammatically perfect thesis statement about your mental exhaustion just to get 5 minutes of peace and quiet.
Exactly.
I need a break is a complete protective sentence.
It allows you to set a firm boundary instantly. It removes the guilt of not engaging in a long conversation when you simply do not have the mental energy for it.
Let us take that concept of a protective shield and take it out into the wild. I want to talk about the retail panic.
Oh, the retail panic.
I know everyone listening has experienced this. You go into a busy shop, you gather your items, and you walk up to the counter. The cashier looks at you and rattles off a question at the speed of light.
It is always so fast.
It sounds like one giant unbroken word. Something like, did you find everything okay today, credit or debit?
Yes.
Panic sets in, your mind blanks, and you just point vaguely at your wallet or the credit card machine.
The retail environment is notoriously difficult for language learners. It is unpredictable, there is usually loud ambient noise, and there are often people standing in line behind you, which adds social pressure.
So much pressure.
Furthermore, retail workers use highly specialized repetitive jargon. They say the exact same sentences hundreds of times a day, which causes them to speak incredibly fast and blur words together.
So how do we survive the checkout line without that spike of anxiety?
The survival kit for shops includes three highly effective phrases. The first is straightforward. How much is this?
How much is this?
Simple.
Very simple.
The second is a powerful tool for browsing. I'm just looking. Thank you. And the third is vital for after the purchase. Can I return this?
I want to focus on that second phrase. I'm just looking. Thank you. When a salesperson approaches you in a store with a big smile and asks how they can help, is it considered rude to just drop that phrase and walk away?
Not at all. In fact, it is expected in many English-speaking cultures.
Really, it feels so dismissive.
When a salesperson approaches, the social expectation feels like an invitation to a full conversation. For a language learner, that expectation is incredibly anxiety-inducing. You might feel trapped, like you have to explain your entire shopping philosophy or detail exactly what type of jacket you were trying to find.
Yes, you suddenly feel obligated to have a 10-minute chat about winter coats.
Exactly. But saying, after just looking, thank you, is remarkably empowering. It instantly and politely dismisses the salesperson. It gives you the physical and mental space to browse without the looming threat of an unscripted conversation.
I love that.
It acts as a protective shield against unwanted social interaction.
That protective shield is fantastic for controlled environments like a clothing store. You drop the phrase, the pressure is gone, and you can look at jackets in peace. But what happens when you are completely caught off guard in a totally public space?
That is the ultimate test.
It is. That brings us to our third environment, the outside world, and specifically, public transport.
Public spaces introduce a new level of unpredictability.
Picture this. You are on a crowded bus. You are minding your own business, listening to music. Someone taps your shoulder, points to the empty spot next to you, and asks, "Is this seat taken?"
A very common scenario.
You understand the words perfectly. But because you are startled, the freeze response kicks in. You go silent, and you just awkwardly move your bag out of the way without saying a word. It feels like a small defeat.
It is that same amygdala hijack, but out in the open, often with an audience of strangers. The lack of context and the suddenness of the interaction amplify the stress response significantly.
So what are our phrases here?
The research gives us two bullet phrases for navigating the outside world. The first is this the right bus? And the second is, where is the nearest station?
Is this the right bus, and where is the nearest station? Okay.
But this is the part of the deep dive that I find the most revolutionary.
What is that?
The material does not just hand over these phrases and wish you good luck. It introduces a core learning methodology to make sure you can actually use them. It is a technique called shadowing.
Shadowing. I have heard of this. It takes language learning out of the theoretical realm of reading a book and moves it into the physical realm, right?
Yes, shadowing is a true game changer.
The instructions for this are very specific. It's not about reading these phrases quietly in your head. The methodology requires physical practice.
Crucial point.
You must listen to a native speaker say the phrase. You must pause. You must speak the phrase loudly yourself. And you have to repeat this process 3 times for each phrase. But wait, physical practice. Are you saying I need to walk down the street shouting English at myself?
No, definitely not.
Because that might solve my language problem, but it will definitely create a whole new set of social problems.
You definitely practice this at home, not shouting on the bus. But the emphasis on speaking loudly is the core of the technique.
Why does volume matter?
It comes down to building physical muscle memory. When you speak loudly, you are forging a strong neural connection between the physical act of speaking, the actual movement of your vocal cords, your tongue, your lips, and your jaw, and your brain's language center.
So thinking it isn't enough.
No, whispering or reading silently does not activate those motor pathways.
It sounds a lot like training for a sport. If I want to be good at tennis, I can't just read a book about how to swing a racket.
Exactly.
I have to stand on the court and swing the racket thousands of times so my body knows the exact movement without me having to consciously think about it.
That is the perfect analogy. By shadowing these English phrases loudly and repeatedly, you are building a physical reflex.
A reflex.
Yes. So when panic sets in on that crowded bus and your cognitive processing shuts down due to stress, your mouth literally knows what to do on its own.
That is amazing.
The physical muscle memory overrides the mental freeze. Your vocal cords know the shape of the phrase, "Is this the right bus?" even if your logical brain is lagging behind.
The idea that you can physically bypass your own panicked brain just by training your facial muscles is incredible. So let us do another visualization with the listener.
I think they will relate to this.
I want you to picture a recent time, maybe it was yesterday, maybe last week, when you stayed totally quiet on a train or at a cafe simply because you did not have a phrase ready. Remember that feeling of frustration.
Hold on to that feeling.
Now realize that by using the shadowing technique in your living room, you can literally train that freeze response out of your biological system.
It completely shifts language learning from an academic exercise of memorizing grammar rules into a physical training regimen. And that leads us directly into how to structure that training so it actually works.
Which brings us to our final section, the strategy for automation. Because here's the trap I think every language learner falls into.
Information overload.
Yes. We think we need to memorize 1,000 different phrases to be functional in the real world. We buy a thick phrase book, we stare at a list of 200 idioms, and we just feel completely overwhelmed.
It is paralyzing.
The methodology we are looking at advocates for an incredibly focused, pared-down approach called the simple strategy.
The brilliance of the simple strategy lies entirely in its constraints. Avoiding information overload is the only way to actually deploy what you have learned under pressure.
Step 1 of this strategy is one place per day. You do not sit down on a Sunday and try to memorize work phrases, home phrases, shop phrases, and transport phrases all at the exact same time.
No, that scatters your focus.
Today, you focus exclusively on the workplace. Tomorrow, you look at the home environment. The day after that, you tackle the shops.
Compartmentalization is vital for retention. It allows your brain to fully contextualize the language. When you focus solely on work phrases for 24 hours, you are naturally more likely to notice the situations in your office where they apply.
So you start seeing the opportunities everywhere.
You begin to anticipate the moments, which reinforces the learning organically throughout your day.
Okay, step 2 is the 3 times rule. As we discussed with the shadowing technique, you listen to the phrase, you repeat it loudly 3 times. But there is a crucial addition here, which I think is the magic ingredient.
Visualization.
Yes, you must actively imagine the real-world moment while you say it. You do not just stare at a blank wall. You picture your manager's face. You picture the busy checkout counter at the grocery store.
Mental rehearsal is incredibly powerful. Neuroscience shows us that visualizing a scenario activates many of the exact same neural pathways as actually experiencing it in real life.
That is wild.
By visualizing the high-stress environment, like the impatient cashier, while physically practicing the phrase, you are essentially exposing yourself to the stressor in a completely safe environment. This drastically reduces the biological shock factor when the real situation occurs.
That makes a lot of sense. You are tricking your brain into feeling like it has already survived the situation.
Precisely.
Now, let us look at the actual phrases you pick. Step 3 is 2 bullets per situation. The strategy dictates that you only select 2, maximum 3 bullet phrases for each environment to have locked and loaded.
Right.
But why so few? If I am putting in the effort to study, shouldn't I learn 5 or 6 different ways to handle a situation so I sound more natural and fluent?
That is the exact opposite of what you want to do for survival situations.
Really?
In psychology, there is a concept known as Hick's Law. It states that the more choices you have, the longer it takes for you to make a decision.
Ah, I see where this is going.
If a coworker asks you a rapid question and you have 6 different beautifully constructed ways to say, "Give me a minute," floating around in your head, your brain will freeze while trying to select the optimal one.
The paradox of choice. Having too many good options actually paralyzes you.
Precisely. By restricting yourself to just 2 bullet phrases per situation, you eliminate the burden of choice. The cashier speaks too fast. Boom. I'm just looking, thank you.
There is no thinking required.
There is no debating which vocabulary word is more appropriate. If you have just 2 phrases you can fire off fast without a second thought, your day in a second language becomes 10 times easier. Efficiency is far more important than elegance when you are just trying to get through the day.
Efficiency over elegance. You do not need fancy grammar to survive your Tuesday afternoon. You just need to not go silent.
That is the core message.
That is a tremendously liberating realization for anyone studying English. It takes so much pressure off the learning process.
It redefines what it means to be capable in a language. True confidence is not about possessing a dictionary-level vocabulary.
Which brings us to our final call to action for you, the listener. Based on the strategies we have unpacked today, we have a specific mission for you.
Your assignment for the day.
We want you to pick just one situation you know you are going to face today. Maybe you have a team meeting this afternoon, Or maybe you need to stop at the grocery store on your way home. Choose your bullet phrase for that specific situation.
And repeat it loudly, 5 times.
Before you leave your house or before you enter that room, say it before you need it. Condition the muscle memory.
Synthesizing everything we have discussed, the big picture is clear. Confidence in a second language is about having a small, deeply reliable toolkit that stops the silence.
Stops the silence.
It is about knowing deep down that you have a safety net for when the panic tries to set in.
A small, reliable toolkit. That is the goal. We want to thank you so much for joining us on this highly practical deep dive.
It has been a pleasure.
If you want to continue leveling up your language skills with us, make sure to follow the Smart English YouTube channel.
Absolutely.
We post comprehensive, fun, and highly effective English teaching content, and we would love for you to leave a comment on the videos telling us which bullet phrase you used today. We read all of them.
The world is loud, and the pace of life is fast, but you do not have to be silent in it. You have the tools now.
And to leave you with a final provocative thought to mull over as you go about your day, think about the absolute most frustrating recurring moment in your daily routine.
We all have one.
Maybe it is a specific neighbor who always stops you to complain, or a particular vendor you have to deal with at work who always confuses you. If you could magically invent one perfect 3-word bullet phrase in English to instantly solve that specific situation every single time, what would those 3 words be?
Think about it.
Build your toolkit. See you next time on Smart English.